Monday morning. It's time for Weekdays in the Word. Thank you for allowing me to join with you. My heart is full. What a great weekend. Friday and Saturday at the Southeast Men's and Women's Advance in Pembroke, Georgia. Our special friends, the Butlers, Pastor Lawrence, Pastor Patricia, their fine church, The Bridge, host of this meeting. You'll never find folks that treat you better anywhere you go. Just great people. The church is one of the friendliest churches I have ever saw anywhere. Their culture is such that they just never, no one goes there and feels like they're a stranger. And what a powerful services we had. The ladies in the new tabernacle conducted their services there. Miss Kim spoke, I think, twice. Miss Shelley Butler spoke once over there. And then in the old tabernacle, the men gathered and I spoke. Pastor Greg Bond spoke, and evangelist Robert Martin spoke. And then in the combined services, our dear friend, Pastor James Snow from Heritage Assembly of God in Des Moines, Iowa, preached those combined services. And I'm just telling you, it was incredible. Our theme was, we win. We win. Amen. And it was awesome. And then services yesterday at Abundant Life. My. I preached Sunday morning and Sunday night on the subject in the presence of God. Amen. Oh, it was special. It was special. As tired as I was, I felt revived again. And so here we are this morning, and I'm happy to be coming to you. I've been talking to you in reference to a recent Holy Land trip. I've been recounting the steps and giving you some insight, little geography, history, spiritual points. I've been talking on John the Baptist for 2 days. This is the third day. I'll continue today and tomorrow also. So I want to pick up John's born now. He is born of the tribe of Levi. And he is a direct descendant of the priestly order of Aaron. And so when he's born, he's in the priestly line. But the Lord has foreordained something different for him. In that before he was born, the angel told his parents he's going to be a special child. He's going to live under certain convictions and restrictions that are different than others. He grew up with a unique calling on his life. He spent time alone in the desert. He wasn't educated in Jerusalem. He never went to the greatest rabbinical schools. He spent time alone with God in the desert. This is what God had for him. And for some, I want to say this: God has you in alone time. It's because he wants to speak things to you that you could not hear in the crowd. And so do not denigrate the alone time. Use it. Appreciate it. Hear from God. John did. He learned to live off the sparse surroundings, eating locust and wild honey. No great table fare for him. He learned to be a minimalist, a survivor, if you please. And instead of the woven garments of fine linen of the priesthood, he wore rough camel skin garments. Totally different than every other person of the priestly order, because God had a different job for him. And this is how He grew up in the wild environment of the desert hills and dunes. This is where he learned to hear from God. Israel had not had a prophet for over 400 years. And now God was preparing one in the most improbable place of ministry. Again, I want to say, never denigrate where God has you. He may be teaching you things, speaking things to you, preparing you for what ministry you have in the future, for the lives you're going to affect, the people you're going to touch. And so allow God to process you. Allow the whole process to work in you that God has. He preached in the Jordan Valley of Galilee, near the village of Qumran. He wasn't a part of the Essenes. A very, very strict group of people that were there copying the scriptures. There's no thread we can tie that he was one of them, but many of the things that they did or the way they reacted to the world, he reacted in the same way. I want you to think about this. For instance, when he baptized Jesus, which I'll talk about tomorrow, there were many young men there that would become disciples. If they came from home, Capernaum, on the north edge, the north shore of the Sea of Galilee, they would have walked 70 miles to be at this baptism. If they came from Jerusalem, depending on where at exactly, 40 to 60 miles. And the Bible tells us that people came out of the cities. And they walked, some of them 3, 4 days, 5 days, just to get to hear John preach. He didn't go to where the great population centers was. He did just the opposite. But such a move of God was found with this young man that they came to him, however hard it was to get there. He was a man sent from God. Jesus said there was no greater prophet ever than John Baptist. So I want to tell you, however improbable, however the places were impossible, the crowds came because he had a word from God. And I want to tell all of us today, if we want our church to be relevant, say, how can we get people to come? Have a word from God. The way to be relevant is not to copy their lifestyle, but it's to have a message sent from God, to have a rhema word for the culture of today, to speak out and speak up as for God. Amen. And what he would have them hear. And if we will speak and be prepared and have this kind of connection, I'm telling you, we'll see revival and people will come. I said people will come. This is my message to our church here at Abundant Life. Let's be relevant by prayer and fasting, getting a word from God. Let's be singing a word from God, speaking a word from God, teaching a word from God. Let's have revival. If we have revival, if we facilitate revival, they will come. I promise you, they will come. The prodigals will come. The heathen that know not any of the facts of Jesus Christ, they will come because they will hear God is in the midst. They will come if we will have a word from God. Abundant Life, other churches listening today, you want revival? It's more than calling an evangelist. It's more than publicizing some little flyer or something, putting it up around the community saying, revival, come all of you, whatever it is we do. It is having a word from God, anointed. And when we do, they will come. God bless you. Have a great Monday. See you.